Hello, everyone, and we are back. I do apologize. Oop, we're ahead by a slide. There we go. We left off on Allusion, and the video cut us off because Screencastify gives you a 10-minute time limit unless you buy the program. I'm not quite sure if I want to yet, so maybe we'll see by the end of this. But we are back to our figurative language review and terms, and we are on Allusion. Allusion is a little bit harder to define. It's when you have a reference to a different story. So you're reading one story and a phrase or a sentence or maybe a quote brings to mind a different story. For example, I've been struck by Cupid's arrow. Now, if you know the story of Cupid, he is a lesser god from Greek mythology, and he's the son of Aphrodite, the goddess of love. And he goes around and he shoots people with his special arrows that makes them fall in love. If you had no idea who Cupid was, you'd have no idea what this sentence means. So, I've been struck by Cupid's arrow is a reference to a different story. It's an allusion. Here's another example. German chocolate cake is my Achilles heel. Again, if you have no idea who Achilles is or what's wrong with his heel, you have no idea what this sentence means. But many people know that Achilles is an ancient hero who had a problem with his heel that ultimately led to his death. So saying German chocolate cake is my Achilles heel is comparing the two weaknesses. So I probably really like German chocolate cake if it's my Achilles heel. It's my weakness. I have another example in a video, and I hope it'll help you understand it a little bit better. Movies do allusions all the time. Shrek 2 in particular, there was an allusion to Ariel, allusion to Mission Impossible, Three Little Pigs, the Three Blind Mice, Pinocchio, Lord of the Rings even. I mean, they had so many allusions. Here's a little quick one.
Maybe I'm in love. Think about it every time I think about it. Can't stop thinking about it. How much longer will it take to cure this? Just to cure it, cause I can't ignore it. If it's love, love makes me wanna turn around and face me, but I don't know nothing about love. Come on, turn a little faster. Come on, the world will follow after. Come on.
Okay, and I'll pause it there. I hate pausing in the middle of a good song like that, but that's okay. So that was an allusion to Little Red Riding Hood. It made a reference to her by showing the character and showing her with her wicker basket full of food, of course. There was also an allusion to the story of Hansel and Gretel in Hansel's honeymoon hideaway and the gingerbread house that they were staying in. Speaking of Hansel's honeymoon hideaway, that's an alliteration. It's an example of a sentence that has, or a phrase that has the same starting sounds in nearby words. Now, please pay attention because I actually have a mistake on this slide. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But it's my fault because I didn't read the alliteration out loud. That's a good way to tell what sounds in nearby words are the same. So here's my bad example. Oh, bad me. Do not go gentle into that good night. Now, there's 3 words in there that start with the G sound. Go, gentle, and good. But they don't have the same sounds. Go and good do, g and g, but gentle has more of a J sound, j. So it's not the same as g. I know that's nitpicking, but you need to have the similar starting sounds of nearby words. So it's still alliteration because of go and good, but you can't count gentle in that. Here's a better example. This is from The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight jury, while I pondered, weak and weary, and both weak and weary start with the same sound. Then in the third line, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping. Nodded, nearly, and napping all start with the same sound. N. Nodded, nearly, napping. So, even though my first example is not a good one, my bad, but weak and weary, nodded, nearly napping, those are all good examples of words that have similar starting sounds. Similar starting sounds. But that's also alliteration. So many examples. Here's another one, by the way. We'll watch a quick video from one of my favorite movies. I do believe that this one is from, yes, it is, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's the fourth movie, correct? Yes. So, Professor McGonagall, one of my favorite characters, is about to not only use the word literally, which I kind of liked, but she's about to say a really fun line of alliteration.
As representatives of the host school, I expect each and every one of you to put your best foot forward, and I mean this literally because the Yule Ball is first and foremost a dance. Silence! The house of Godric Gryffindor has commanded the respect of the wizard world for nearly 10 centuries. I will not have you in the course of a single evening besmirching that name by behaving like a babbling, bumbling band of baboons.
Try saying that 5 times faster.
Now, to dance is to let the body...
Fred and George are also two of my favorite characters. But babbling, bubbling, bumbling, band of baboons all start with the same B sound. It's a great example of alliteration. I love Professor McGonagall. Okay, so alliteration. Repetition of similar starting sounds in nearby words. Now, this is very similar to your next word, which is assonance. Repetition of similar vowel sounds in words. So this is in the middle of the word, at the start of the word, any part of the word, as long as it's the vowel that sounds the same. So A, E, I, O, U, or Y sounds. They can rhyme. Most rhyming words are assonants, but they do not have to rhyme. So check out this example here. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary. This is the same example from the Raven as the last slide, and we already decided that weak and weary were alliteration. But if you look at it again, dreary, weak, and weary are all the same vowel sounds. Now, they all have EA as their vowels. You can have the same vowel sound and not the same vowel. For example, oo can be OO or U. So you just have to be careful. You have to read it out loud to yourself to get it. So, once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary. Drear, weary, okay? It's all the same E sound. So, assonance, again, it can rhyme. It doesn't have to. It's just the repetition of vowel sounds in nearby words. It might be harder for you to come up with a different example here for your paper. If you need to use some research to help you out, that's fine too. Oxymoron. This one's fun. It's just when you have a phrase or a pair of words that are contradicting and are in close proximity. So, Charlie Brown's famous catchphrase, good grief. How can grief be good? It's like they're opposites. Good and grief, two different things. It's an oxymoron. Similar to the living dead, jumbo shrimp, or I'm busy doing nothing. Busy doing nothing. How can you be busy doing nothing? It's an oxymoron. Jumbo shrimp, jumbo means big, shrimp means small, and the living dead. That one should be obvious how that's an oxymoron. How can you be living and yet dead at the same time? So when you have a contradiction, that's when it's an oxymoron, a contradiction between pairs of words, or at least a small group of words.